It was scary knowing if you have this, you could die.
How bad is this? It's not good, but how really bad is it?
I was scared to death.
This could be really serious.
She's incredibly lucky because it probably would have taken her life.
I know that if this hadn't been found, that it would have kept growing. I needed to make a call to a surgeon immediately.
Welcome to The Incurables. I'm Don Wildman. Some diseases are shrewd. They spread quietly throughout the body without triggering symptoms. Undetected, they invade organs where they can root and grow. By the time you realize what's inside of you, it's too late. Judy Flickinger had such a disease, and she discovered it by using a conventional blood test in a most unconventional way. As a hospice nurse, Judy was part of the medical establishment, but when she looked beyond convention to treat a health condition using natural methods, she met a fellow nurse who had developed blood screening procedures that challenged standard medical practice. Judy was urged to take what on the surface appeared to be a simple blood test, a test one of her doctors called foolish, a test that uncovered a deadly disease, silently lying in wait inside her body.
Through this entire investigative process, I had no symptoms.
If this had not been found when it was found, who knows how long it would have taken to become cancerous, and then by the time you start finding symptoms, it's way too late.
She had no symptoms. If we hadn't seen these changes in her blood, she would eventually have had symptoms of pancreatic cancer, but it would have been way too late at that point.
We diagnose roughly 30,000 patients with pancreatic cancer each year, and probably about 28,000 deaths each year. So overall, it's not a very good outcome.
90% of the people, and probably the odds are higher than that have pancreatic cancer do expire. They do not live. It's a disease that is so dangerous, like lung cancer and ovarian cancer, because you don't get symptoms until the end stages. So finding it early is the key.
It's been a lifesaver, and it's been a future saver.
By the time you get symptoms, it's pretty far along. So I knew what a lucky person I was.
Born in Cincinnati, Judy and her loving family moved to Pittsburgh when she was a little girl. Even at a young age, Judy was a child with a dream.
I always knew I wanted to be a nurse, even when I was a little girl. My dad was in the medical profession, and we talked about medicine at home, and it was something I always knew I was going to be.
As a practicing nurse for 45 years, Judy worked in many branches of her profession. But she found her true passion as a hospice nurse. With kindness and compassion, she tended to the needs of people along the final stage of life's journey.
Doing hospice, you see what happens to patients and their families, and it can be very devastating. Emotionally, physically, by the time a person becomes a hospice patient, they've gone through an awful lot. Seeing that, it made me become a little more proactive in my own health care.
Judy had a rich life to protect. Beyond her rewarding career, she had a wide circle of friends and was a divorced mother raising 3 lovely children, daughter Kimberly and sons David and Scott. Her family was made complete when she married Roger Flickinger in 1984.
It was like I got a package deal. I got a wife, 3 kids, and a dog, and a house that needed work. And it was the best thing I ever did for myself.
They love each other dearly. She's smart, she's worked hard, and I love her. She's my best friend. He just has an amazing amount of strength, and it's just a relationship to be admired.
Although active and vital, Judy had one ongoing concern over the state of her health.
I had been a nurse for so many years and taking care of so many patients that had had major strokes, and I feared that. When my hypertension was not being controlled by normal medical avenues, I decided to try Your Future Health.
Your Future Health uses an unconventional approach to blood testing to find the nutritional causes of disease.
She came as a person looking to help hypertension. She had high blood pressure, and she was having dizzy spells, which was interfering with her tennis game.
I've had hypertension for many years, and the doctors were having a difficult time getting it under control. I decided that I would have my blood tested with Your Future Health, and that's what got me involved. Little did I know that that would probably be the decision that would save my life.
In 1997, Judy Flickinger began having her blood tested by Your Future Health. YFH tests for early signs of disease by analyzing a person's blood work beyond what is done in a doctor's office. Analysis of her blood work revealed numerous nutritional deficiencies, which contributed to Judy's hypertension. She began taking supplements recommended by Ellie Cullen of YFH, including potassium, calcium, magnesium, and B vitamins. Her high blood pressure was brought under control. But for Judy, this was only the first step in a long and frightening journey.
I had had some unusual vaginal bleeding. So I went to my gynecologist. She performed tests and said everything was okay. So I was telling, when I was talking to Ellie Cullen, I told her about this, and she said, Judy, have you ever thought of having a CEA done? Now, I'm a nurse, I know what a CEA is. It's a tumor marker for 8 different organs in your body that can have cancer. And I said, no, I had never thought of it. And she said, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to have that done.
Ordinarily, carcinoembryonic antigen is found in significant amounts only in a developing fetus. In a conventional practice, most physicians won't even test for it, unless a person has already been diagnosed with cancer and is undergoing treatment. Yet YFH believes that a screen for CEA in patients like Judy is an important way to detect cancer in its earliest stages.
Her CEA score came back at 3.1, and coupling that together with the decreasing red blood cell and hemoglobin counts, this was an automatic red flag. In fact, our computer systems are triggered to put an alert off when this happens.
Unlike conventional medicine, YFH's alternative testing methods focus on the normal range for an individual, looking for changes and irregularities before illness strikes.
That is not because the doctors don't know what they're doing. That is because that's not the world they deal in. This is actually prevention blood testing at its best.
The unconventional testing methods of YFH uncovered a steady rise in Judy's CEA scores, prompting Ellie Cullen to advise Judy to seek medical attention.
She said, Judy, I think it's time that you talk to your physician about it. So I did. I went in and spoke to my physician, and he said, well, you know, we don't normally do CEAs until someone has been on chemotherapy, so it's very unusual if this was run, number one, and Judy, it's not really that high. He said, but I can see you're concerned, and it gives me a little concern, so let's do some tests.
Over the next few months, Judy made the rounds, seeing numerous specialists who scanned and probed and tested her organs for any trace of cancer.
In a several-month period, we had tested 7 of the 8 organs, and they all came back fine. He said, Judy, I don't really know what's going on, and then he had run a CEA also, and it had crept up a little bit further. He said, I'm going to send you to an oncologist and see what they have to say. The first one that I went to, I've never been treated quite as bad as I was treated in that office. In fact, after 40 years of working with physicians, never have I cried, but this one made me cry. I left that office humiliated. He told me I was stupid for even considering having a CEA run. Didn't I know why they use CEAs? And I said, yes, I did, but this is what I had done, and I want to know if I'm okay.
When we went to his office and Judy explained why she was there, he essentially just blew us off and said, well, that's just plain stupid. That didn't set too well with either of us.
And he refused to run any further tests, told me to come back and see him in 3 months. Well, I went back to my normal physician, my internist, and I said, I won't go back to him. What do you suggest? So he sent me to another oncologist. He said to me, Judy, the only organ that hasn't been tested is your pancreas. Let's do a CAT scan.
The results of the CAT scan could scarcely have been more ominous.
It came back that there was a growth in the head of my pancreas. Now, you talk about being afraid. I had had many hospice patients that had died of pancreatic cancer. I knew that that was not a good diagnosis.
Judy Flickinger was introduced to Ellie Cullen's program of alternative blood testing while searching for a natural way to control her high blood pressure. Ellie not only relieved Judy's hypertension through natural means, but in tracking Judy's body chemistry, she saw what she believed to be a negative trend. Ellie's creative use of a blood test led to the discovery of an ominous lesion on Judy's pancreas. Although Judy still faced a dangerous surgery known as the Whipple procedure, the early detection of the lesion gave her a much greater chance for survival.
I knew that pancreatic cancer was deadly, but I knew that the Whipple procedure was also deadly. It's one of the worst surgeries you can have. I had taken care of my hospice patients that had had a Whipple procedure, and they had all died. That ran through my mind. Judy, if you have this, you could die.
When Judy called me, it was gratifying to know that we had found the pancreatic cancer and that we were likely finding it extremely early. It was also disappointing that I knew she was going to have to go through such serious surgery, and we were all fearful for her.
When I was told that I would need this major surgery called a Whipple procedure, I turned to my husband and I said, you need to understand what's involved with this. There are 5 organs that are affected by this. Pieces of each one of those are removed, and I can't have this done. And I said to the surgeon, can I go home and think about this? He said, yeah, but if I were you, I wouldn't wait too long.
It felt like time was running out, and there were no good options. Even a potentially devastating surgery was no guarantee of Judy's survival.
Losing Judy would have been a very difficult thing.
My husband is an engineer, and he really gets into figuring things out. So we spent hours on the internet, the two of us, mostly him, researching what was possible. Finally, he came up with a physician in California by the name of Dr. Parekh at the Norris Cancer Center in Los Angeles that was doing a modified version of the Whipple. The one thing that I feared was having my duodenum removed, and I didn't have to have that done with his procedure. So I was very excited.
Judy left Cleveland to undergo an alternative to the Whipple procedure at the USC Norris Cancer Center.
The purpose of a Whipple operation is to remove the pancreas, shown here. However, as you can see on this picture, in the shaded area, we're removing a whole bunch of other structures during a traditional Whipple operation. These structures are stomach, shown here, the first portion of the intestine, shown here, 20% of the pancreas, the gallbladder, and the bottom half of the bile duct. What we do in this new operation, what we call a pancreatic head resection, but what Judy understood as a partial Whipple, is where we remove only the head of the pancreas, and I'm going to show that to you here. So instead of removing 5 organs, in this operation we remove only 1.
One of the concerns that Dr. Parekh had was that the tumor was right up next to a major blood vessel, and that he was concerned that this was going to present a problem in surgery. So then that became a concern of mine.
Even in the hands of a leading surgeon, pancreatic surgery is always challenging, and the location of Judy's tumor made that especially true.
Judy's tumor was located in a very difficult spot. It was next to a blood vessel called the superior mesenteric vein. If you nick it, you're losing blood at a rate of 1 liter a minute, and you only have 5 liters in your body. So that gives you an idea of how careful a surgeon has to be when they're dissecting the tumor of this blood vessel.
Just prior to Judy's surgery, we asked her to increase her alfalfa because of its rich source of vitamin K, which would help to minimize the bleeding during the surgery. In fact, during the surgery, the surgeon said there was minimal bleeding, and he was surprised. And this is something we teach all of our clients to do.
When we went in, we found that her tumor was on the surface of the pancreas, and we were therefore able to shell it out with a little bit of normal pancreas, which we need to do to make sure that we got all the tumor out. We therefore did not have to do even the extensive pancreatic head resection. She was incredibly lucky.
Dr. Parekh was able to cut out the cyst without having to take the head of the pancreas off. So it turned out that the surgical procedure was even better than what we had hoped for.
I've had excellent results from both modern medicine and alternative medicine. I believe, for me at least, the combination of the two has made a difference to keep me healthy, and that's my goal. There's no doubt in my mind that your future health saved my life. Not only did they save my life, they saved me a distressing, horrible illness that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
It's not a problem to find cancer today. It's a problem to find cancer too late. So that's again the reason why preventative testing is so critically important. If you just find it early enough, it may be no problem at all.
Judy continues to have her blood tested regularly. The results show no more signs of cancer.
I'm not sure if I would be here today if I hadn't found that when we did, but I know my life would be different than it is today. And I know that if it was found too late, that my end of life would not have been very good.
Today, if it hadn't been found, would this have developed into cancer by now? Would it be another couple of years before it developed into cancer? It's just one of those things that you don't know, but I think about that from time to time, and I think, wow, we were really lucky.
Today, I am probably one of the most active senior citizens that you could find. I love my life. I love what I do. I'm like the ever-ready battery. I just go from one activity to another. Seeing my grandchildren, I play tennis 3 or 4 times a week. I ride my bike. I ballroom dance. I'm very active, and my surgery has not changed my life in one way. I can honestly say I probably feel better today than I did 20, 25 years ago.
I think about what's going to happen in the future when one or the other of us isn't here. And I'm just very glad that we've been able to postpone that time because of her program with Your Future Health.
Preventative blood testing is so critically important because it allows us to find disease at its earliest stage. I believe in the years to come that this will become something doctors use as well. If we can find a cancer early, that's the key to saving our lives. That's what we were able to help her do. So it was one of the most gratifying moments of my life to be a part of that.
I feel very blessed to have my mom still here with us. She's an amazing woman.
I'm a very grateful person. There isn't a day that goes by that I'm not grateful for the day that I've had. I don't know that that would have been the case had this progressed into a full-blown cancer. So I'm very grateful that it was found. Very thankful for Dr. Perek. Very grateful to Your Future Health. And grateful for the life that I live.
Judy's story is a triumph for preventative medicine. Her saga proves that a disease without symptoms can still leave subtle footprints. And in this case, it was a natural practitioner, not a doctor, who discovered them, as Ellie Cullen's innovative use of blood testing ultimately saved Judy's life. To learn more about Judy's incredible journey, go to our website. Join us next time for another remarkable story of personal triumph. I'm Don Wildman for The Incurables.